Level 1, the beginning. You are 0. You're born at the regional hospital, 20 minutes from Main Street. Your mother labours 14 hours. The bill comes later, a little over $2,000, even with insurance. Your father tapes it to the fridge, unopened, for a week. 3 days after you're born, he's back on the floor of the warehouse. He gets no paid leave. Only about 1 in 4 private sector workers do. Your mother stays home longer unpaid. She checks the savings account every Friday. It's thinner each time. The neighbours already know. A sign-up sheet goes around the block. Monday someone drops off a lasagna. Wednesday a crock pot of chili still warm on the porch. Friday a casserole with reheating instructions taped to the lid. It's from a woman 2 doors down you've never met. Your grandparents drive 2 hours to hold you first. Your name gets settled at the kitchen table, argued over for a week. A neighbour mows your family's lawn twice unasked. Nobody mentions it. The well-child visits start on schedule. Vaccines. A growth chart taped to the refrigerator door. One night, your parents argue in whispers about whether the car makes it another month. You don't know the words yet. You know the tone. Your father wonders quietly what happens the first time one of you really gets sick. Level 2, the early years. You are 5. Kindergarten starts at the elementary school 3 blocks from home. 26 kids in your class this year, 4 more than your teacher wants. 2 years back, the district cut the music program to balance the budget. Your teacher keeps a box of donated crayons under her desk for whoever needs one. You learn to ride a bike on the cul-de-sac. You fall 4 times before you don't. Every summer the block throws a party. Grills lined up on the sidewalk. A folding table sags under potato salad and a sheet cake somebody's aunt made. You meet Danny there, 3 houses down. You're both 7. You trade half a hot dog for half a burger and call it even. You join the town rec league soccer team. Orange slices at halftime. A plastic trophy at the end of the season, no matter who won. Your dad starts driving 2 nights a week for a delivery app after his regular shift. He calls it picking up a little extra. He doesn't call it a second job. You just notice the truck's gone later some nights. You don't understand yet why some weeks the fridge looks fuller than others. Why your mom checks the receipt twice at the register some months and not others. Halloween, you and Danny ring every doorbell on the cul-de-sac. You compare candy hauls on the curb after. You trade what you don't like for what you do. You're both home before the porch lights start going dark. You get your first library card. 1 sticker per book in the summer program. 5 books a bookmark. 10 books a poster for your wall. 20 books a pizza party, and you finish book 19 and 20 in one sitting, the night before it's due. A retired neighbour teaches you and Danny to fish at the reservoir. He's got a boat in his driveway and no grandkids nearby. He says you two will do. Level 3, the coming of age. You are 12. Middle school starts. New building, 6 periods. A bus that leaves at 7:10, whether you're on the porch or not. Every spring, state testing takes over the school for 2 weeks. Reading and math, 3rd grade through 8th, required by federal law. Tied to the school's funding. You fill in the bubbles. You show your work in the margins. You turn the booklet face down when you're done, like you're told to. In April, your teacher stops teaching new material and drills practice questions instead. Freshman year, you try out for the football team. Or you don't, and you pick up a trumpet instead, 3rd chair in the marching band. Either way, Friday nights change. The town turns out under the stadium lights. Grandparents in folding chairs. The hardware store owner in his team polo. Kids too young to play yet chasing each other under the bleachers. Danny's there too every week, next to you in the stands or 2 rows over in the band section. You get your first real job at 15. The diner on Main or the grocery store off the highway. $7.25 an hour to start, the federal floor, maybe $1 more if the manager likes you. You work Friday nights before the game and Saturday mornings after. Pep rallies before every home game. A homecoming banner strung across Main Street 1 week every October. Junior year, your guidance counsellor starts pulling you in. What's next? College. Trade school. The military. The plant on the edge of town, if none of that fits. You watch the seniors ahead of you leave, one by one. Some for basic training. Some for the state school 2 hours north. Most for the community college 20 minutes away, still living at home. Around the holidays, the diner regulars leave you an extra $1 or 2 on their coffee. They know your name by now. They know your father's too. Prom comes senior year. A rented tux or a dress from the mall 3 towns over. The one here closed 5 years back. Level 4, the fork in the road. You are 18. Graduation lands on the same field as Friday nights. Cap and gown instead of shoulder pads. Your name gets called. You shake the principal's hand and don't trip on the steps. You skip the 4-year track. 9 months at the community college, a machine operations certificate, 20 minutes from your parents' house. Cheaper than a dorm. Faster than a degree. Half your graduating class does something close to it. Danny goes a different way. Enlists or leaves for a state school 6 hours south. You write for a while, then texts, then less. Your first job out of the program is a regional warehouse off the interstate. You scan pallets. You count boxes. You watch the clock hit 29 hours. You clock out before it turns 30, the line where the company would owe you health coverage. You go 8 months uninsured. A back tooth starts aching in month 6. You chew on the other side instead of booking the dentist. You move into a 2-bedroom apartment with a guy from your certificate program. First lease with your name on it. Moving day, 3 friends show up with a borrowed pickup and 2 pizzas. Nobody asks for gas money. You owe them a favour, unspoken for later. You keep applying to the plant on the edge of town. Word on the warehouse floor is the benefit there are decent. Real insurance. A pension match. Not just a badge with your photo on it. The plant calls you in on a Tuesday. You get the offer that Friday. Full time. Benefits eligible after 90 days. Your parents throw a cookout in the backyard when you tell them. Burgers, a case of soda, your dad shaking your hand like you just closed on a house. You start sending $200 a month toward the certificate loan. $4,000 left. Nothing like the number Danny mentions once in a text about their own. Level 5 entering the system. You are 23. 90 days at the plant and your benefits activate. Health insurance. A 401k with a company match. Deductions show up on your paycheck that weren't there before. You meet someone at a cookout, through a coworker, back in the bleachers on a visit home. 2 years in, you propose. 26 years old, close to the national median for a first marriage. The wedding stays small. A backyard folding chairs borrowed from the church basement or a rented hall by the VFW post. Potluck reception, casseroles and sheet cakes down a long table, nobody hiring a caterer. You save close to $4,000 doing it this way. At open enrollment, you add your spouse to your plan. Good timing. Their job at the shop downtown runs 28 hours a week. No benefits attached to it at all. You fill out the enrollment forms together. You pick the plan tier. You list your spouse as a dependent. You watch the new deduction land on your first joint pay stub, $60 bigger than before. The math stays tight anyway. Rent, the car payment, groceries. The wedding and the security deposit hit the same month. You eat a lot of rice and beans for 3 weeks straight. You buy a used car, 80,000 miles already on it. You refinance a year later for a better rate. Danny stands up at your wedding, home for the weekend, in a uniform or a suit that doesn't quite fit anymore. You dance one song together, the way you used to at homecoming. At night, you and your spouse start talking about a house, about kids. You run the numbers on a napkin twice. They don't quite work yet. You send the last payment on the trade certificate loan. You throw out the paperwork without much ceremony. Level 6, the build. You are 31. You and your spouse buy a starter home. 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. A roof that'll need work in 5 years, not yet. A 20-year mortgage. Your hand shakes a little, signing. A neighbour shows up before you even ask. A ladder under one arm, a nail gun in the other. 2 hours later, the porch step stops wobbling. Your first kid is born. Your spouse takes 12 weeks under the Family and Medical Leave Act. Unpaid, the whole stretch. You run the savings account math. You decide it's worth it anyway. At 18 months, your kid falls off a tricycle and breaks an arm. You hold them still in the ER waiting room. You sign the intake forms. You watch the X-ray screen over the tech's shoulder. You get billed $900 after insurance. The family premium alone runs past $2,000 a month by then, half from your paycheck, half from the plant. You set up a payment plan. $50 a month, no interest. The billing office is decent about it. A second kid arrives 3 years later. A cousin repaints the nursery that same weekend, half the work done for the cost of pizza. Saturday mornings you start coaching t-ball. A clipboard. A whistle you never quite use right. A cooler of orange slices in the dugout. The street starts a 4th of July cookout. You're one of 3 families who keep it running. Sparklers after dark. A card table of deviled eggs nobody claims. Word comes down that the plant laid off a shift at the sister facility 2 towns over. Not your line. Not yet. The floor goes quiet for a few days after the announcement anyway. You get a raise that fall. Small. The first one in 3 years. By the break room coffee machine, people start saying the word restructuring. Nobody explains what it means yet. Your parents take the kids most Saturdays now, still spry enough to chase them around the yard. Level 7, the reckoning. You are 45. Your oldest makes varsity as a freshman. Friday nights become the centre of your week again, this time from the bleachers instead of the field. You join the booster club. Some Fridays you work the concession stand, labelling nacho cheese, making change out of a metal box. A car wash in the school lot raises money for new shoulder pads. You spend a Saturday soaping windshields for $5 donations. Your spouse starts getting headaches. Not the usual kind. They don't quit after a week. They don't quit after 2. The tests come back with a name attached. Something chronic. A specialist 2 hours away. Monthly infusions. A prescription that runs through a mail-order pharmacy now. A copay to budget around every refill. You push your own dentist visit back a season. You skip the Union Hall breakfast to save the $10. You start clipping coupons again, first time since the kids were small. The same season, the plant cuts your line to 4 days a week. Not a layoff. Just fewer hours right when you need more. Your mother's memory starts slipping. Small things first. Then the stove left on. You start driving her to appointments too. No siblings close enough to split the trips. You pick up weekend shifts at the hardware store to cover the gap. A neighbour down the road, retired from the plant a few years back, starts showing up Sunday afternoons to split firewood with you. Mostly you just sit on the tailgate after, not saying much. The specialist mentions a procedure. Not fully covered, he says. The real number he can't give you, not until the claim processes weeks after it's already done. That spring, your oldest graduates. Plays one last game under the same lights you sat under as a kid. You stand for the fight song, hand over your heart, same as always. Level 8, the descent. You are 56. The bill for the procedure arrives. The number nobody would give you. More than what's sitting in savings. More than checking can cover without the mortgage payment bouncing. You call the hospital billing office. They set you up with a payment plan, no interest, same as years back with the ER visit. Then a follow-up surgery stacks another bill on top. A collections letter shows up for an older balance you thought was already settled. A paperwork mix-up, the hospital says. The letter still says what it says. You open the first envelope standing at the counter. You open the second one sitting down. By the third, you stop opening them right away. You let them sit by the toaster for a day first. You take a second mortgage against the house. 20 years of payments, most of the equity you'd built, gone in one signature at the credit union. At the plant, a sign-up sheet starts circulating. Cow workers donate their own paid time off, hour for hour. It means you can sit in the hospital room without losing more of your paycheck. You never find out who started it. 3 people claim credit later, separately. You cut your own hours anyway. The floor work is hard on a back that isn't what it used to be. 8-hour standing hits different at 56 than it did at 25. Neighbours start a meal train again. Same as the week you were born. Same as you've done for 3 other families on this street over the years. Danny runs the sign-up sheet this time, on a laptop instead of a clipboard. Your spouse stabilises on the new regimen mostly. The monthly cost never really disappears. The emergencies just space out. The kids are grown now. One stayed local, working the same hardware store counter you once worked weekends behind. One moved 4 hours off for a job in a bigger city. You start doing the math some nights on a legal pad. When you could actually afford to stop. You turn 60 then 62. Old enough to file for Social Security early. The number on the letter is smaller than it would be at 67 permanently for however long you draw it. Level 9 the last years. You are 65. Medicare kicks in. First time since you were 23 that your coverage isn't tied to whether you clock in on Monday. You sign the paperwork at the kitchen table, the same table where your name got picked 65 years back. The Medicare premium comes out of your Social Security check automatically. A Medigap policy on top to cover what Medicare doesn't. What's left lands a little over $2,000 a month. Enough to get by on carefully. Not enough to stop being careful. You retire from the plant that spring. 30-some years on the floor, start to finish. Cow workers throw you a party in the break room. A sheet cake from the grocery store, your name misspelled in blue icing. A card everyone signed, even people from the other shift you barely knew. The old medical debt is mostly behind you now. Paid down, settled, or aged off the report after enough years passed. You sleep past 6 for the first time in 30 years. You make the coffee slower. You read the whole paper, not just the headlines. You call your kids on a random Tuesday, just because, not because anything's wrong. You're back in the bleachers, this time for a grandkid. Same lights. Same fight song the band's been playing for 60 years. You stand for it anyway, knees and all. You and your spouse take a real road trip this time, a full week. Longer than either of you can actually pin down since the last one. Your spouse's condition flares up now and then. You know the drill by now, which pharmacy, which specialist, which forms to fill first. You still reach for the phone a little too fast when it rings at an odd hour. Just not as fast as you used to. Your knees start giving you trouble on the bleacher steps. You put off calling about it, same as you always have. Old friends turn up at the same games, grandparents now too, saving you a seat 2 rows down. Sunday dinners happen at your table now, kids and grandkids around it, same as your parents' table once was. Level 10, the legacy. You are 78. Most mornings start on the porch now. Same coffee mug, 30 years old, handle re-glued twice. The paper's thinner than it used to be, half of it adds. One more scare comes. This time, it's the one you don't walk back from. It happens quietly, at home, family around the bed. No ambulance run. No waiting room. Just the hospice nurse checking in twice that week. She doesn't need to come a third time. The town turns out for the funeral. They fill the pews from your wedding, 40 years back. They fill the choir loft where both your kids got baptized. They fill the parking lot, cars lining both sides of the street for 3 blocks. Same as they used to for the Friday games. That fall, the high school team wears a small patch on their helmets. A hometown habit for anyone who gave the place 30 years and never missed a home game. Neighbours bring food to the house one more time. A lasagna. A crock pot of something. A casserole with reheating instructions taped to the lid, same as the week you were born. This one's from a family who wasn't even on the street yet back then. An old friend sits in the front row, older now too. They say a few words that don't come out quite right. Everybody understands anyway. Your grandkids sell the house, most likely. To a young couple just starting out. The kind who'll need a ladder and a nail gun of their own before long. And a neighbour willing to lend one. Across town at the same regional hospital, a baby gets born that same week. 14-hour labour for the mother, same as yours. A father back at work in 3 days, same as yours. A bill on the counter unopened. Down the street from that new family, somebody's already filling out a sign-up sheet.